Okay, I've got 2 target fish coming up. Roosterfish, giant yellowfin, both on top water, hopefully. So today I'm gonna start actually making some lures, hopefully to get one of these fish on. So I've got a trip coming up at the end of October. I'm going to Puerto Vallarta in Mexico, out with Arachero sport fishing for a day and also Marla's sport fishing on a multi-day trip. So first one, I'll be targeting roosterfish, and then come back, I'll do Day of the Dead and Halloween in Mexico, and then I'll be going out with Marla's sport fishing for 3.5 days, trying to get well, my goal would be 200 pound or 220 pound plus, so 100 plus kilo yellowfin tuna. If I get a 300 plus pound, that's like fish of a lifetime. So that's the ultimate goal. Any yellowfin tuna is the goal, because I'm starting this whole thing from zero. So I did the trip recently to New Zealand, which I'll put that whole video up soon, where we went to Whitianga and got kingfish. You'll have to check it out to see if we actually got one and bagged a PB. So aside from the kingfish, we're starting at 0 fish. Our target is to basically tick off as many fish species as we can from across the world. Like, I'm talking unique ones, those like big ones, whatever. Kind of target something, go and get it. If basically the rules will be, I have to hook it. So if I'm top water, I have to cast, have to hook it, have to land it myself. Like, so obviously someone else can gaff it or help me bring it in, but I have to basically wind it to the boat. So there'll be challenging fish for that, like bluefin, for example, gigantic, hard work. So it'll be a lot of training as well. But yeah, I'll be diving into it, and just a little side goal of mine is to actually make some lures as well. And you know, the ultimate goal would be to catch one of these fish on a lure that I actually make and tailor it to the place I'm going. So first place I'm going is Mexico. Halloween, Day of the Dead, and obviously the fishing. So I want to blend a bit of Mexican culture into the lure I make. I'm going to be focusing on stick baits, and for anyone who doesn't know, that's a stick bait. So this is a molossi one, insane lure. I haven't had the chance to throw this one around yet, but beautiful lure. And that's like, you know, I don't think I'm going to make something of that caliber, but I'll give it a red hot crack, and I'm going to be doing this regularly for the trips I actually do. And then there's poppers. So initially I'm going to be making stick baits, and then there's poppers. So this is, Nick made me this one and sent it up. It's pretty bloody epic. So cast her out, give it big rips across the water, takes a big gulp of air and just leaves a big bubble trail behind it. So I've caught GTs, all sorts of things on these. So absolutely sick lure. I'll be taking these as well. So I'll be throwing everything, but I'll also be making my own, and fingers crossed I'll be able to make something and catch one of these fish, bring it home, retire the lure when it's done, have that memory on my wall forever, just hang it up there. So I have started, and like I said, I'm no pro lure maker. I'm a hobbyist. I've just started this not too long ago. I'm taking a lot of tips off good friends of mine who make really incredible lures, like these ones, like the molossi ones. There's Pacemaker, there's a whole bunch of people online who I really, really enjoy watching. So yeah, I'm making what I can. So basically, here's where I'm up to. This is what I use from Bunnings. Standard pine, so it's 42 by 19. That's what I use. I use two halves of that. So I cut it to the length, and I'm making each one of these to a specific, obviously I'm tailoring it to a specific fish, but I'm not looking to mass produce these or anything. This is a keepsake for me. So each one's gonna be different, whatever measurement they are. Like this one I've cut, for example, at 190 mil, which is pretty big. This one here, I've got it sitting at 130. So they all vary. So there's no art to it, and they're not gonna be recreated. So each one's gonna be its own thing. Basically what I do, 2 bits of pine, then I've got 2 mil stainless wire, which I use that big roll up there for. So I bought this 316 2 mil stainless because, geez, some of these fish are so strong. You really need that holding power. And then I've got a 300 pound swivel. So basically I pull it off, measure it to the measurement I actually want. So it'll sit inside, and I bend up the end. So I've come up with a good way to bend these up. It seems to work for me. Obviously they aren't as as perfect as these ones, but they'll do the job for me for sure. Then what I do, I take that and I sit it, use this one, sit it on there and basically measure back how far I want the swivel to hang out from the belly. And if I'm not using the correct terms for these, then feel free to correct me. Like this whole thing, so I'll leave it like that. Then I'll mark it with pencil. But yeah, this whole thing, if I'm not using correct terms or there's a better way to do it, jump in the comments, leave me a comment, because like I said, I just love doing all this stuff. The fish, I love chasing the fish. I love learning about the fish, how I'm gonna do it. Lures, I love learning how am I gonna do this. So I want all the tips I can get. That's a big part of this channel, is to actually be able to connect with you guys, work in, and we'll work it out together. So this is just where I'm up to now and the tips I've got. So basically, I'll mark where it comes through. Then I've got a little Dremel and I'll cut out, ugly, but I'll cut out straight across the center, down there, on 2 bits. I've done this so many times where I mirror it and it actually ends up back to front. So there's a hot tip. Then I'll join them together and I'll grab a drill. My drill's sitting somewhere. I'm not sure what drill bit I use, but what I do then, I'll just punch a drill straight in there, and straight there. That allows the twisted end a little bit of play to be able to sit in there. And that's what works for me. I'm sure there's a better way, but that's what works for me. Because, and you know, it's something I didn't think about until I actually started trying to make my own. But when you're putting these together, that's really, to a degree, like obviously this doesn't swim, but that's what you're fighting the fish on. So you want a strong connection the whole way through. And that's why I really like this idea, because basically that's going to your line, that's going to your hook or there. That's what fights the fish. That's what holds the fish. So even if this all falls off and falls apart, that's what's fighting the fish. This as well, obviously, helps it swim. That's what's going to make it swim. You've got to shape it right and everything, and that's going to be a battle in itself. So helps it swim, helps the cast, everything like that. But that's really what I've sort of come to realize is what you fight the fish with. So you want that done right. And then you want that as strong as possible, which I believe is why I've sort of been told to do it this way with the 2 halves, which I never thought to do it. I thought, you know, you just, well, I don't know what I thought. You just punch a hole the whole way through. So anyway, do that. And then I get these 2 bits. So like I said, next time I'll show the whole process of what I do, and I'll take all your tips along the way. But once I've knocked those out, I'll basically sit that where it's got to go, grab the second bit, make sure it all sits in and seals up nicely. Connected there, like so, fully sealed. And I've got a set of clamps, and basically I'll get this 2-part glue, super strong glue. I use this one at the moment, so up to 140 kilos, it's just self-mixing. So I tend to like to do a few at a time. That way, you know, I don't waste any glue. So I'll glue up 3, 2, 3, whatever, and then clamp them together. So I'll spread that glue out across there, and then I basically, actually that's not the glue I use for it. I use a 2-part glue, which is somewhere. We'll find it. Then I clamp it and glue it together. So that's a glued one. That's completely glued. And then these holes tend to not be full. So that's what I actually use that glue for. So that basically ends up an open hole, all 3 ends, and it'll come out like that, with the swivel hanging out the base. Then I'll fill it up. So those end holes, I'll basically pump this into it till it sort of overflows. I'll knock that off later. Same with each one, and that way it's just sealed. So I just find it works better. Then what I'll do, so I've got these 2 here. Bigger stick bait, smaller one. I'll sort of just mark shapes on it to get a rough idea of what I want. So you can see that one on there. This one's probably a little bit fat, but I'm sort of playing, a lot of it I'll be doing I guess by feel, I suppose you'd say, because I'm not trying to recreate them each time. Each one's going to sort of be a little bit unique in its own way. I'm going to recreate it. Sorry, I'm not going to recreate it. So I don't care so much about the measurements. So what I'll do, I'll shape it till I like the shape of what it is, and I'll run with that. So, but just to give you an idea, that's a popper I made not too long ago. So this is probably essentially the first popper I made. So haven't used it, haven't thrown it, plan to, but you learn things along the way. I didn't want too much glitter on this one, but I ended up accidentally dumping a whole heap on the front. Had to do it to match. Same in there. So we'll see how this one goes, but we got a whole process here. Today though, I want to start shaping it. So I do have a belt sander and everything, which I will use, but because I don't have the full extraction set up and everything, I got a little vacuum for it. I actually, and I prefer to do it this way, I like to start carving the shape. The width will be pretty similar to what that is, but I do like to start carving the shape with a knife. So I brought this one, Tough Built, it's just a Stanley knife like this, and just run it across it until I start to get that shape, and then the finer details when I'll start to sand it. So I like this one because you pump it up, and you can use it like that too. So it's just handy. I find it really handy. But yeah, what I might start doing, I'll start playing with these, I'll start shaping them, and go to part 2. So this is going to be a multi-part sort of series, I guess you'd call it. I'll just face this down a bit so you can sort of see. So yeah, got my lines there. It's just a bit of a guide, but I'm just going to start taking sections off just to see where we come up with at the end. But basically this is going to be a bit of a multi-part sort of series, I guess you'd say, because these lures can't be done in a day. Like even when I'm curing them, or the glue's drying, or the epoxy, whatever, that's a multi-day process in itself. So it's going to be a bit of an effort, but we'll try to get updates out weekly. We'll see if we can't start pumping them out. But yeah, very recently had the kingfish sesh. So that kicked this off, and it was a strike mission for a classic. And I guess putting that video together, doing the whole chase, that's what really, really brought me to the idea of, it's an idea I've had for a long time, but to chase these fish all across the world and sort of work out how to chase them, starting with the kingfish. A lot of them will be on lures. A lot of them will be live bait like we did in New Zealand. But top water, I think the big yellowfin we're going for in Mexico are going to be, for the most part, live bait. It's just the way they do it. But the whole goal is going to be to go to these places. The New Zealand one wasn't the full-on mission like I'm going to be doing to these other places where I get to show some culture, show some things like that, and really learn and enjoy the place and show the whole experience. It was more of I suppose it was a test film just to see which aspects I was missing, and there was a few things I picked up on. But each time I want to really showcase the techniques they use in whichever part of the world it is, and just start to build that experience, because I'm a learner the whole way through. So I love my fishing, but some of these people I'm going to be linking up with, they absolutely specialize in these fish. So they do it day in, day out. You can't beat that kind of experience. So I'm hoping to pick up on the whole experience, the whole technique, really learn some cool stuff, and have a damn good time along the way. I'm really excited to do these trips because a big part of it's going to be the culture. So it's not just going to be about ticking off the fish themselves. That's going to be the focal point, but we're going to have a lot of fun with the culture. The people I'm going with, I'm strategically going with these people because I can experience it in its full. It's not going to be, Sheraton hotels and nothing else. It's going to be living with these guys, these locals, these people who fish it every day, and really get to show the culture and just immerse myself in it, have some fun, have some good laughs, and see where we end up. This one and this one are definitely going to Mexico. Now, I'm going to be there for Day of the Dead, which is, that's a dream in itself to go there at that time of year and really check it out. I've never been to Mexico anyway, but to go there at that time of year and really experience that with a couple of local guys is going to be really something else. So I'm thinking for my lure, obviously got Mexican flag colours, but the Day of the Dead, that's what really stands out to me, is how I want to, I guess, decorate these and sort of blend that in. So if you've got any ideas, or if you know anyone who really knows a lot about that culture, then let me know, because I want some ideas how to paint these, everything, and how we can really make it something special. Because like I said, I want to blend it in with the place I go to and see what we can come up with and just make it really cool to, if we get these fish to hang on the wall. So anytime I check it out, I'll have a vivid memory of the whole process. So if you want to keep up with the whole travels, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell so you get notified when we get a new video up. I'm going to have this kingfish video out very soon, and we can really start to have a bit of fun with this. And of course, if you've got a fish, some crazy, I don't know all the fish in the world, but I love learning about them, love catching them. If you've got a crazy fish idea, crazy location, then leave a comment, get involved. You know, obviously if you're in a position where we can get out and chase one of these fish, let's do that too. So everywhere we go is going to link up with what we do at a classic. So like I said, this is going to run in parallel with that. Okay, that's it. That's done for today. We'll leave it there. So as you can see, it's a bit of a long process, buggering about cutting it, and that's why these are so cool. And you know, you got to really respect these local lure makers who do this. I'm sure there's a better way, a quicker way, but this is the way I like to do it. So anyway, subscribe, hit that bell. Got some really good trip videos coming up soon. Got that yellowtail kingfish one coming out shortly, and then we're off to Mexico. Anyway, enjoy.